Well, hello there. I am Dr. Christine Anderson. I am a Los Angeles-based chiropractor of over 30 years. And this month of March, I am talking about all things detoxification. And when we are talking about detoxing, we have got to talk about the liver. So I hope you will, if you haven't watched them yet, I hope you go back and look at my videos on the common sources of toxins and common things that you can do to detoxify. And now we're going to talk about specific ways and things you can do to help support your liver health. And this is really kind of near and dear to my heart because, you learn about these things the hard way in life. And for me, I had something pop up. I was about 29. We had just moved into our new home. My daughter was 2, and I was in the cupboards, cleaning the cupboards out. Um, Everybody else was moving things in. I was doing a lot of the cleaning and in the cupboards and in the cabinets. And this is the only thing I can figure out as to what happened with my system because right after moving in that night, my ankle started hurting. And I thought, did I twist it with the move? I don't know. Well, the next day, the other ankle started hurting. And I thought, well, sprains and strains do not travel from one side to the other. This is crazy. And before I knew it, I had to bind my arms up in order to go into work and adjust people. I could barely walk. At the time I said, oh, I feel like I'm 100 years old. Now that 100 is getting closer um, than 29, I hope I never, ever, ever feel that way, no matter what age I am, because all my joints hurt. And I did some blood tests, and specifically, I was checking for arthritides and rheumatic problems, joint problems, and nothing showed up on my blood work, except I had, from my memory, maybe my triglycerides were low. I can't really remember anything else remarkable. And luckily at the time, I was working in a chiropractic office where the doctor there knew somebody that did what we would call functional medicine today, or what I like to term integrative care, because that is what I do as a chiropractor since I don't practice medicine. So this doctor looked at my lab results, and this is way back when in 1992. So this is pre-computers, really. And he evaluated it and came back and said, "You have a prodromal liver condition." And I was like, "What? How could I have a prodromal liver condition?" So and he gave me a list of supplements to take. I went to the health food store and I filled up my basket with all these supplements and started taking them. And almost immediately, I started feeling better. It was really miraculous and incredible. And that is one of the reasons why I use integrative care in my practice, because here's the thing, medically, if they would have just looked at how they look at lab normals, I could imagine they would put me on all these drugs to help with pain without really looking at the cause of what's going on. So this is what this is all about. I do my work in my office by doing lab tests and investigating, trying to get to the bottom of what is happening, history, exam. There's a lot of other equipment I use, and I'll talk a little bit about my frequency scanner in a minute. But there's lots of ways I can determine whether there's disruptions in the whole body system, which everything is connected to everything else. So even though I'm focusing on liver health, when you are helping your liver, you're going to be helping your whole body. That's just the way it goes when you're dealing with optimal health. So let's just dive right in. I want to just go through a few things like the functions of the liver. Now we're talking about detoxification. That's a huge one for the liver. But it also is involved with things like bile production and secretion, and that's needed in digesting fats. It also produces cholesterol. I've talked about this when I talked about the heart. Cholesterol is not evil. We need it. We need it for our hormones and for our integrity of our cellular structure. Um, the liver is also a storage of energy with glucose. That's blood sugar. And so it's going to help assist in that metabolism of sugar and store it there for later for energy. Now, that can be a problem if there's too much, but in this form of glycogen, it's there if we need it. And protein synthesis is involved, storage of iron. This is why some people eat actually liver, right? The organ liver, in order for to up their iron intake. Now, there's lots of other ways to do that. I don't do that, but that is why they consume liver. And there are things that the liver does to help prevent blood clotting. And you want a nice balance. You don't want too much, you don't want too little, because with blood clotting, that can create issues in the cardiovascular system. So these are some of the things it does. And, liver disease is a huge issue. In the United Kingdom, it's the 5th leading cause of death. Now, I lived in London for a while, and there's a pub on every corner, so this kind of doesn't surprise me. But the liver disease rates are also climbing in the US, and we'll look at here a couple of reasons why, because it's not just alcohol consumption, although that is a huge one that can occur. And so you see there a picture of a normal liver and a cirrhotic liver. That's one that's had a lot of damage to it. And you can see that when you have changes in the structure of an organ, that means it's not going to function properly. Now, I've listed some things here too, the household chemicals. So that would be what you're using to clean, what's under your sink, your laundry detergent, all those type of things. I have talked about this extensively. I will try to link as many of these things I'm talking about that I've talked about in the description, so you can go back and look there. But anything that you take in your body has to be processed, and if it contains toxins, it's going to be processed by the liver. That's the nature of what the liver does. It takes toxins, it tries to process them to get them out of the body as much as possible. Now, another common source is this excess fat accumulation. So if you are overweight or obese, you're going to accumulate fat in your body. And now we hear about this term visceral fat. Well, part of it is that it will infiltrate the liver. And so rather than having a liver that's very efficient at detoxifying, it is not going to work so well because of this fat accumulation. And then we've got infection. Now, this is usually where you have hepatitis. Hepatitis A that you get from food is usually not a problem. That doesn't usually create lasting liver damage. But hepatitis B is one that will create some damage. In general, I mean, I think we have infinite healing potential if we give our bodies the right opportunities. So I don't want to say it's not reversible, because I think until you get to a certain point, certain things are. And hepatitis C. So you want to stay away from dirty needles, whether that be with injecting things into your body or tattoos, that type of thing. That's typically how you would get those hepatitis B and C. Industrial chemicals. So this is where I feel I was subjected to industrial chemicals. The house that we moved into fell out of escrow 5 times. Now, every time a house is sold, they usually are spraying, termites and whatever. So I am surmising that there was some chemical residue that I was being exposed to because of me going in and doing the cleaning and whatnot, and I was stirring up maybe dust, and some of these chemicals that got into my system and overloaded my liver, and it just could not handle it. And then we have medications. Now, you can look on your medication that you're taking and look at what some of the issues are. But one of the ones I really want to mention is Tylenol or acetaminophen, because that is a common um, over the counter medication that people might not realize does liver damage. And if you drink and also take acetaminophen, it could actually even be fatal. So this is a really serious issue. So some of the effects of poor liver function. Now, I had swelling, and actually not too much swelling, but definitely inflammation and a lot of pain that resided in my joints. That's how it presented for me. But some people might have digestive issues because this is what part of what the liver does. Metabolic issues, blood sugar issues, immune dysfunction, hormonal imbalances. Remember, part of the job of the liver is to make cholesterol. Nervous system and psychological issues. We're going to talk about that connection in a moment. Fatigue. And this is a huge one because when you think about it, if you have toxins clogging up your system, and they are producing their own, it creates its own effect. If you have toxins in your system, it's going to make you really tired. So this is, this is part of what people may experience if enough damage is done to the liver. So let's go through the 8 top ways that you can help support your liver. Number 1 is eliminate toxins. And I do talk about, like I said, the common toxins and how to get them out of your life. So I'm not going to go into this in great depth. But basically, your lifestyle is hugely important. So whatever you're doing in your life, you're going to either be helping your liver or hindering your liver. Now, with alcohol, you don't have to be a teetotaler, but you definitely want to drink in moderation, and that's about 2 drinks a day. Now, I even think that's too much. I really think that alcohol should be used much less frequently, but that is the absolute kind of maximum is 2 drinks a day. And it does depend on what that constitutes for a drink, depending on whether it's beer, wine, or spirits. So I'm not going to go into that. You can look that up. But you do want to drink in moderation. I talked about medications. Smoking is a huge toxin. Refined carbs and sugar, which is going to affect your blood sugar, which has a lot to do with inflammation. And this does become toxic, and the liver has to deal with it. Fried foods, same thing. Processed foods, artificial sweeteners, all of these things tax your liver. Household and body care products. If you are buying things off the shelf at your regular store and not in any special section of organic or natural ingredients, it's going to contain toxins, and you're going to be exposed to them over a long period of time. And with body care products, you're absorbing that right into your skin, right into your bloodstream, and that has to go through the liver. And same thing with your household chemicals. So you really want to be discriminating about what you're bringing into your home. All right, number 2, maintain an optimal body weight. So I talked about this with the fatty liver accumulation. So of course there's an acronym for that. There's a little diagram here talking about the spectrum of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and kind of showing that at a certain point, this is reversible if you change your lifestyle habits before it gets to the point where you have so much scarring in your liver. You can turn this around. So it doesn't have to be, okay, well, I already have, this problem with my liver, nothing I can do about it. So it can be reversible if you change what you do in your life. And as far as maintaining an optimal body weight, I'm not going to go into detail here. I have done some of these things before, but I will certainly keep touching on the subject because it is, pardon the pun, a huge one. But you definitely have to get movement in your life, not only for your body weight, but just for your brain, your body in general. You've got to move it. So, way too much sitting has been going on in general, and even worse now. Um, we talked a little bit about diet, and we're going to go into that in more depth. And we're also going to go into emotional release. Now, I have fasting on here because sometimes it is worth giving your liver and your digestive system a little bit of a break. And so some people will do fasting. Now, that might be intermittent fasting where you're having a restricted window of eating, and then there's longer fasts. And this is really a subject that I have to go into more depth, but that may be something that you want to look into. All right, the liver friendly diet. I really wrote small here. Number one, we don't want to have food that's full of toxins, so we want organic, non GMO, um, farm, grass fed, no factory farms, free range as much as possible. If you can go out in the wild, if you're going to eat meat, if you could go out in the wild and obtain your meat that way, that is the best way. You've got to be very careful about seafood just because of the number of toxins we put into our water. And you certainly don't want farm fed fish because they give them a lot of antibiotics. There's a lot of toxins produced in that, and they are certainly not organic or non GMO. Fiber is going to help move everything through, including toxins. So, a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, raw if you can, legumes, things like oats, maybe. You want to watch out about too many carbs. So, you want to keep the really fibrous carbs in your diet, but really fill up your plate with a lot of fruits and vegetables. Potassium rich foods can be really helpful. I don't necessarily recommend a supplement, but making sure you're getting foods in like sweet potato, banana, spinach, avocados, coconut water. Sulfur containing foods, cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, onions, garlic, and beets. Beets are really great for supporting the liver. You can get them as just beets. You can ferment your beets. That's really great to do. And you can do beet juice, eat those beet greens. You can eat the whole beet. And so this is a really great way. And when you think about it, that beet is very red and iron rich. It's going to be really good for things like your heart and your liver. So you get a 2-for-1 in there. And then the antioxidants. So, of course, antioxidants are going to be the things that prevent damage from occurring in our whole system, and that is also including our liver. So, blueberries, cranberries, grapes, goji berries, healthy fats. So, you want to use ones that are not trans fats, that are more in the omega-3 family if you can, or the medium chain triglycerides you find with coconuts. Coconuts in general are great, whether it's the oil, the meat, the milk, really good for supporting the liver. Olives, that type of thing. So the Mediterranean diet is great to help support the liver. And sometimes with a liver flush, you're actually using things like olive oil. So we'll get more into like a little bit more of the detoxification in the next couple of episodes. Now, I'm not a big coffee drinker, and there are some downsides of coffee, especially if you have adrenal issues, but there is evidence that coffee does help support the liver. But you want to make sure it's organic and non GMO because it is a highly pesticided crop. Same thing with tea. And with the tea, you can do green tea, white tea, dandelion tea, rooibos tea. So all of those are going to be supportive of your liver. Now I've got a list here of eliminate/minimize. You want to try and eliminate as many things here. I've talked about these before when I went over the common toxins, so I won't go into this too much. All right, number 4, drink water. This is pretty self-explanatory. We want to flush toxins out of the body. We want to help the liver move things along and process the toxins. And if you don't drink enough water and you're dehydrated, your blood gets really sluggish. It's really hard for it to move through the cardiovascular system. So you want to stay hydrated. Now, you do want to have water that's filtered because you don't want it to contain more toxins. So this is the problem. We don't want to create more of a problem than we have in the first place. Now, I've also put structured there, and I keep on my investigation of structured water. I'm going to be talking more about it. You can look it up in the meantime. But basically, the water becomes very sticky. It clumps together, and when it does that, it can't go into your cells as well as and hydrate. So there's a couple of different ways I'm looking at to help structure water, from simple things that you put your water onto and let it sit there, to systems that you actually put underneath your sink or your whole house. So I have a whole house filtration system. Not only the water I'm drinking, but the water I'm bathing in is filtered. And I just found out from my husband, we did have magnets that were helping structure it. We don't have those anymore for some reason. So I'm looking at what we're going to do about that, because I want my water structured. Now, you want to at least have half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you're going to want 50 ounces of water, and so on. If you are exercising, you want more. If you're taking anything that has a diuretic effect, like coffee or tea or alcohol, you want to drink one more cup, like 8 ounces, per thing that is creating the dehydration. So that's just a general rule to go by. If you are detoxifying, actually doing a program, you want to possibly even do more. So it's going to help with the waste and toxin removal. Like I said, it thins the blood, helps to maintain a healthy weight, because a lot of times, guess what? You might be thirsty instead of hungry. Did you ever try that? When you're like, I feel hungry. Wait, let me have a big glass of water. And then you're like, oh, I'm not hungry anymore. So it actually can help you with that. It aids in digestion and overall with the whole metabolic process, but you don't want to actually take water with your meals because it's going to dilute the digestive enzyme. So like 30 minutes before and maybe 30 minutes after, but not with your meals. And in the morning, I really love to have a huge glass of water, maybe even 2, because that is going to be the thing that gets your whole system kind of going and detoxing, kind of wake it up. And I love to add in lemon, pure lemon essential oil, which is made from the rind of the lemon. You can also do lemon juice, but there's some things with lemon juice just because it is a little bit acidic for the teeth. So I don't like to have too much of it if I can, but that's not a problem with a pure essential oil that has not had any, been grown with any pesticides, herbicides, and has been responsibly processed. All right, number 5, chiropractic. Go figure, a chiropractic talking about chiropractic for your liver. And here's the thing. This is straight out of Grey's Anatomy. The nervous system controls and coordinates all of the organs and structures of the human body. So that includes the liver. It includes everything in your body. And I've got a diagram here. The liver is down in the left-hand side, and the yellow aspect of this diagram is showing the sympathetic or spinal nerves coming off there. And then the green line that kind of goes off, you can't see where it goes to, is actually the parasympathetic system. So what this means is that we've got 2 parts of our system. It's the autonomic nervous system. You're not telling your liver to detoxify. It just does it. You don't have to sit there and go, come on, take the toxins out. Okay, do it again, right? All of your organs that are just functioning without you thinking about it have this supply of the autonomic nervous system. So our sympathetic is our power gas pedal, right? It's like stimulate, stimulate, stimulate. The green or parasympathetic is rest and digest. And that's usually the one that is going to be more active in situations of the liver cleansing you're going to still have the sympathetics, but that's going to have more of a brakes on the liver function. So think about this. If you are chronically stressed and your sympathetics are in high gear all the time, you got your pedal to the metal, it's go, 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 chronic, 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 then your liver is not going to be able to function as well as it should. If you have subluxations in your spine with the vertebra being out of alignment, look there sort of in the mid-thoracic area around like 7, 8, maybe 9, then that means the nerve supply going to the liver is not going to be optimal. Same thing for the parasympathetic, which comes off, believe it or not, all the way up from the back of your head at the brainstem. The vagus nerve goes down to the liver. It travels all the way down the body. That's crazy, right? So a chiropractic adjustment is really helpful for full body optimal functioning, and I highly recommend it to support your liver. All right, we're getting up there. Number 6, frequency. Now, this is a huge one I have been talking about lately just because it keeps coming into my awareness of how important frequency is. Because even if you are doing all of those really great things, diet and exercise and optimal weight and working on your stress levels and you're getting your adjustments, what's happening in our world now is that we're being bombarded by frequencies that we did not evolve with. I live in a city, LA, and it's constant noise, right? There's so much noise going around. We have radio waves pinging through us. So radio, we've got electricity in our homes that our walls are surrounded with. We've got now electromagnetic frequencies. And all of this is kind of disrupted, especially for the fact that most of us don't get outside enough and ground where we're having connection to that earth frequency resonance. So everything has a frequency. It's an oscillation of energy. If it's in the range that we can hear a possible sound, but our livers certainly have a frequency. It's 317.83, and the E flat is the signature sound that our liver makes when it is functioning optimally. So I've gone over frequency before, what it is and how you can keep it optimal. So I'll put links to that. I'm not going to go into it too much, but I just want to talk about some things that I use and that you can use to help with your liver, with frequency. So first of all, I scan myself every day with my frequency scanner and optimize my frequency. And then there's a way it tells me which supplements I need. I can put on frequencies to help support my liver and chakras and so many things. It's such a great tool, and I really highly recommend every single person, every single family have one of these in their home because it is a game changer, guys. Enough said on that right now. All right, essential oils, I've listed some there. This is not an exhaustive list, but these are ones that consistently come up when you look at liver support. Now, you can certainly diffuse the oils. You can put a couple of drops in like a tablespoon of carrier oil, like coconut oil, and rub it on your liver. You can put some drops of essential oil into Epsom salts and have a detox bath. Not more than 20 minutes though, because you don't want to start reabsorbing your toxins that are coming out. And then, as I said, with the citrus, you can also, I use Young Living oils. They have a vitality line that is okay for internal use. It's actually labeled for internal use. And I love to use lemon. Grapefruit's another great one to use. But citrus is another thing that helps with the cleansing process. Crystals. So all crystals have a frequency and energy. And the ones that can help with your liver, rainbow quartz, citrine, misspelled, amber, sunstone, carnelian, these are some of them. And you could put the crystals right on your liver, which is in the upper right of your abdomen, right under the rib cage there is your liver and gallbladder. So you can put it over your liver, or the chakra related to the liver is the solar plexus that's sort of halfway between where your diaphragm is and your navel. You can put them there, or you can just carry them around with you. So many great things that you can do with crystals. They're pretty incredible. I talked about going outside, bare feet, prefer to ground, get gardening, dig, lay down on the grass. It's so good for you to re-energize, recharge your whole body. I use a BIOMAT. Again, I'll put the link. I've talked about that. It's full of crystals and long wave infrared, and also has the benefit of negative ions. Get to the beach, get your feet in the sand. And I put avoidance of EMFs. I know we can't completely get rid of them, but there are ways to mitigate that. And I did put some of the things sprinkled throughout some of the videos I did, and also a podcast that I've done. High frequency thoughts and emotions. So our thoughts and our emotions all have frequency as well. And if you have negativity coursing through your body, guess what? It's going to bring your frequency down. So this one kind of brings me to my next number 7, releasing stuck emotions. Now, the liver tends to hold anger and resentment. Those are the emotions that tend to get stuck in there. And when they do, they can actually create problems with your liver. So this is an aspect I'm always looking at. There's ways that I can muscle test to see that if this is an issue when I work in my office using neuro-emotional technique. I'll put the link to what that is here in the description. And then aroma freedom technique, which is using essential oils to kind of bring to the surface those emotions that are stopping you from getting what you want, what your goals are in life. Because when we get those emotions stuck, they actually can prevent us from fulfilling our destiny. Believe it or not. Isn't that crazy? But especially with liver and anger and resentment, I'm going to get the saying wrong, but the gist of it being when you are angry at somebody and you hold anger in your body, it's, it's like you taking the poison and expecting them to die. So it's doing your own body damage. And whatever you're angry at or whoever you're angry at, nothing happens to them. So enough said on that, right? All right, here we are to supplements. You're like, when are you going to get to supplements? I just want to take something. Well, I put these last for a reason. These supplements are to supplement the other things that you're doing in your life. So if you have a crappy diet, taking a supplement is not going to fix your liver. Now, when I had my issue, I took a lot of supplements because I had to go through this highly supportive process of my liver so that it could do what it needed to do to detox. So there are definitely some things that can be supportive if this is what you need. Milk thistle is at the top of the list. And this is something I do consume on a regular basis. I will muscle test myself and just make sure, and I'll put a link to how I muscle test in the description. Dandelion is also a really great way, and I love dandelion root tea, so I drink that routinely. Love it, love it, love it. Anything bitter is going to be really great for the liver. So there's actually something called digestive bitters that kind of get this process going of digestion with the release of bile. You can also do this with really bitter leafy greens, including dandelion greens, and that's really helpful. Things like choline is that's a way to help support what's going on with the fatty system. NAC, which is N-acetyl, cysteine. Thank you. Woo! And glutathione, they kind of go together. I've talked about these. Sometimes we need some extra support. We make glutathione in our body, but if we are wanting to help with that detoxification, sometimes we need a little support with that. B vitamins and folate, because they get used up so much with stress, sometimes these need some supplementation. Antioxidants, to me, you can never get too many antioxidants, especially in our modern world, and especially for me living in a city, because there's always toxins, There's always things that my body I feel needs to work on. So I try to get as many from my food as possible, but if you need any support like vitamin A, C, E, D, um, selenium, then you might need to take some antioxidant support. Things like ginger, turmeric, ginseng, these are all supportive of the liver. Again, I prefer to get them in my food, but sometimes they're put into supplements as well. I'm going to put a link to my full script account where I create protocols. I've already got one on there for a detox protocol, but I'll put on there specifically for liver support some of the things that I like to use. And I'm super particular about vitamins and mineral supplements because I want to try and get as many that are food-based, but I'm also looking at the companies to make sure that their quality control is like AAA plus. We don't want to take in toxins with our supplements. All right, we did it. So that's it. The 8 things to do to help support your liver. I'm at losangeles-chiropractor.com if you want to check out some more information on me, my practice, what I do. And there's my weekly YouTube show I have here every Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. You can always watch the replay if you can't watch live. And I've got a couple of other YouTube shows and podcasts. So all those links are on my website that you can check out, or I'll try and put them down below as well. All right. So hopefully you found this helpful. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Of course, subscribe so you know when I'm posting new videos. Share with your friends so that they too can have healthy, optimal livers. And I will see you next time.